Let's go down to the Cape now, and according to the eNCA, a weather centre, a huge storm is approaching Cape Town. This could spell disaster for those living in low-lying areas, especially in the townships. A severe flood warning has already been issued, and the weather centre's Candice McKechnie has given up the warmth of the studio and is now standing for us live at the top of Signal Hill, I believe. Now, Candice, you say you're at Signal Hill. That's normally one of the best views in Cape Town, but you couldn't tell with that heavy fog behind us. What's the latest?
Well, I can confidently say that the cold front has arrived. It's a very large but slow-moving cold front, so lots of cloud. You'll see that you can't even see the city bowl behind me. It's all under a very low cloud. Not much of a view, as you already mentioned. The cold front has definitely arrived, and of course with that we'll see the rainfall picking up as well. Now, it's followed by a secondary front. It's actually a series of cold fronts that are affecting us in the next 24 hours or so, and that's going to reinforce the rain as we head into this evening. In fact, we're expecting that the bulk of the rain to come in between 5 and 8 o'clock tonight. So not just the frontal system that we see now, but the cold and wet weather, as well as lots of rainfall into the evening hours as well.
Now, I was in Cape Town a couple of weeks ago, and I'm from there originally, and of course at this time of year all the conversation is people asking, when is the rain coming? When is the rain coming? And this is a town that's coming out of a drought not so long ago. Is the rain now here to stay? Are we expecting lots more going into the winter season?
Well, I think that that's a very long answer, but the short answer is that we certainly hope so. We've had a below average rainfall season thus far this year. So although our dam levels are looking a lot better than what they did a year ago, the rainfall season has been slow to start. Generally, we see that first frontal system in the first week of June, but whether that continues is actually quite difficult to tell. These few cold fronts moving through will bring in good rainfall amounts, and that's really what we need. We just need a few really good fronts bringing in sort of 20 to 50 millimeters of rainfall every couple of weeks to keep those dam levels high. And of course, as you mentioned, it's always top of the topic list. I always have something to talk about with people because everybody wants to talk about the weather, and especially the rainfall.
I'm sure you're the expert in the house. Now, you're, like we said, you're on the top of Signal Hill, but you were in lower lying areas, which many are dreading the impact of the rain that's coming. What advice would you have for people, especially those living in those areas that are a little lower down?
Well, I think that it's always very challenging living in those areas, because where do people go? Those low-lying areas, obviously it's best to try and take as much of your possessions or your family out of those areas and try and not seek higher ground. I mean, not everybody can flock to Signal Hill, but definitely try and move out of those areas that are prone to flooding. And I think it's also a lot of the infrastructure that's challenging in those areas, because the drainage is not great. A lot of the time, even if there are drains, they can be blocked by pollution, and that water just doesn't run away. But of course, if the water is flowing in a great amount, in sort of like a little bit of a stream, make sure you don't cross that. Only 30 centimeters of water can move an entire bus. So please take heed. If there is flowing water, rather go around. Don't cross any roads if they are flooded. And obviously try and stay as safe as possible, and be very careful when driving home this evening, because I think we'll see the bulk of that rainfall on many people's journeys home this evening.
And peak hour in Cape Town is a disaster on a good day, so that doesn't bode well today. Before I let you go, Candice, we know that when these cold fronts hit Cape Town, especially in the winter, there are knock-on effects for the rest of the country. Can you give us a quick insight as to what the rest of the country can expect?
Well, this cold front has it in for the Western Cape, which is good, especially with the rainfall. It's only really bringing in rain for the Western Cape. We are expecting very strong to gale force winds later on. Damaging winds are possible, and that's mainly along the coastline, with those damaging winds spreading all the way through to the Eastern Cape coast through to tomorrow morning, as well as into Thursday. With that also comes high seas. But it seems like the central and northeastern parts and even eastern parts of the country will remain dry. However, they will feel the cold snap of air by Thursday, temperatures will drop significantly into parts of the Free State, and overnight on Wednesday as well as into Thursday night we'll see very chilly minimum temperatures. Gauteng's maximum temperatures are not really affected. However, we will see a cold night on Thursday.
Thank you so much, Candice McKechnie, our expert right at the top of Signal Hill in Cape Town, giving us all the information we need to know as we prepare for what seems to be a cold week and certainly wet in Cape Town from this afternoon already.